Get it on the board. This is round 7 against Kyron Griffith. Very strong. And honestly, I was just impressed about how fast I was moving. Because I was like, I could tell he was a little frustrated because I was moving fast. Because I know what I'm doing. I'm like, I know this. Like, I don't have to move slow. So I was moving kind of fast, but it was quite interesting to say the least. This whole game. I looked at it later because this was the first time I had this over the board that I had this. I looked at it later though, and I was like, "Oh, that's how you get out of this." He plays something that I got beat a lot with in Blitz. I was like, "Oh, in Blitz, I learned now that this is not none of these moves are the move. It should only be this one." But this was the first time in this field, first time experience wise over the board with this. I'm playing another FIDE master, and he's super strong. I just came off a 3rd round win of a FIDE master, so he's very strong, super strong. So, and I'm like, uh-oh, let's see what happens. How do we get here, and how do we get out of it? And I'll show you what that is. Are you playing in the Philadelphia International 2 before the World Open? No, not that one. Chess coach, I hope you enjoyed playing Troutman, student of mine. Yeah, bro, he was strong, bro. Blitz play. I'm like, young kid out here getting it. He's strong. I was like, oh yeah, okay. He coming up, and I think he's touching expert, or he's trying to. So that's what's up, coach. Chess coach in the building. Y'all say what's up to coach real quick. This is around coach. I went off in these last few rounds. Here. I definitely went off. This is round 7 after I beat the FIDE master the last round. This is round 7. I'm playing with the black pieces here. And of course, my favorite opening to play with black against e4 was the accelerated dragon. So we go right into it. Canty is in a great mood. That's right. That's right, Blue USB. We're in an excellent mood. Absolutely. All the time. So he plays e4. You know what I do. c5. Let's go. Accelerated dragon life. Knight f3. g6. I'm literally almost blitzing these moves out. It's like before he put his pin down. Sometimes I like to play around too and wait for them to put the pin down, and then I move real fast. It's just playing with my opponents, like, you know, psych stuff. But it was fun because I did that because I know what I'm doing here. It's accelerated dragon. I play this every day. I play this in my sleep. So I'm playing this and I'm just going through the moves. He plays knight c3, bishop g7, bishop e3, knight f6. Then he takes on c6, and I was like, uh-oh. This is the first time I ever had this in over the board chess. So I knew this was gonna be tough. Not tough, but I mean, like, it was gonna be weird. It was gonna be weird. Philly International was a norm tournament they hold right before the World Open. I know, Tech Game, I've seen that. That was pretty cool. I didn't know what it was, but I definitely read on it. Bensildo says, get him out of here. Blitz him, Canty. Yeah, so he plays knight takes c6. I take on c6. Okay, you was not expecting that. I was not expecting this. He plays e5. Is knight c6 a thing? Not really. In Blitz, you might see it. You might see it in Blitz and stuff like that, but not over the board. I've never seen this over the board. He plays e5. So I go knight g8. This is theory. Bishop d4. And I always mess this up. I have always messed this up. I always go queen a5, which it's not messing it up. It's supposed to be f6 first. It's supposed to be f6. But I still always go queen a5. And usually the line would be like queen a5, f4, f6, queen e2, takes. If rook b8, b3, and then c5, and he loses a piece in these lines a lot of times, or he'll get in trouble. So there's a lot of lines to it, but I played queen a5, and then he played bishop c4. Man, I can't tell you how many times I done got in trouble with this line, taking the pawn on e5. Honestly, I sat here and thought. And I was thinking in my head, man, I have lost many games losing that pawn, taking that pawn on e5. So I was thinking to myself, I'm on a 3-game win streak. I'm hot right now. You know, shoot, have I ever won a game taking that pawn? You know, like, I'm like, shoot, man, that's a pawn. And I'm like, I got to take this, man. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to figure this out. So I took it. I went right into it. He castles. And then knight f6. And now rook e1. Now, let me tell you. What do you play here as black? What do you play here? Everybody in the chat. What do you play here? I done got my head cracked many times in this very position. I have got destroyed. And I was like, what? Should I stop playing the accelerated dragon because of this? Or like, did I just play it wrong? Like, but after I looked at games in this position, I still play right. Gary says d6 looks forced. Bishop c7, bishop h2, Vincilda just jumped off the deep end. But no, I understand because queen h5, knight g4, it just doesn't work though. So knight hangs. Is he gonna pull off bishop f7, rook e7 stuff? Right? No. You won this game, right? No, this was a draw. This was a draw, but I almost won. You know, I actually offered him a draw, and he was like, "Let's keep playing." And then after that, he offered me to draw because he was about to lose. He was about to lose. I was like, "Oh, all right, let's go. Let's go then, big fella. Let's go." So let's see what happened. Bishop d4, bishop takes d4. So here's the problem. You can't really move this bishop nowhere. You can't really move it. If you take on d4, you about to get in trouble. Because this is a wrap. Queen takes f6 is nasty. I was like, well, what if I go here? And what if I play king f8? Let's keep playing and mark him right. So you said let's keep playing and mark him right. Nope. Nope. And dark squares are weak. So if I play king f8 though, I was like, this is a big boy shot. Boom. Rook takes e7. And that's like, you know how people sitting next to you on the board and they watching your game? They'd be all in my game. Or like, you know, that Naka looking at Levon with that face. Like, bro, you got into this? What you doing? Like, you need to go to the other section. You know, rook takes e7. Boy, that's nasty. King takes rook e1 check. And this is what I was looking at. I was like, I'm not about to let this man do me like this. Oh, no. Oh, no. You can resign. You can get... that's what I saw, Gary. I saw rook takes e7 being a move. And I was like, oh, no, bro. I'm not about to have this happen to me on the board. Not today, not tomorrow, not any day. I can't even do nothing else. What if I castle? I've tried this before. I've castled and rook takes e7. I've been in this position in a blitz game. And I was like, this is not fun to play. My knight's hanging. He got a rook on the 7th. He took an e-pawn. Like, what do I have to say even compensation? It looks terrible. I'm not going into this either. So you don't have any other move but bishop. I mean, bishop takes d4 don't work. You can't move the queen because your bishop is hanging. You have to make a decision. You have to make a decision now. And this is, chess is about making decisions. So, you know, bishop takes h2 could have been a thing, but it's just not going to work at the end of the day. It's just too much. So I had to go with the ugly looking d6. After I looked at this game in the engine and everywhere else and like games that people play this in, d6 is the move. They actually play this and they go into different lines. The only difference is they actually put the queen on c7 out the opening instead of queen a5 like I did. They just go queen c7, which is a little different. So now everything becomes different because, and I was like, oh, if I play queen c7, let me show you the difference actually of what I learned here. After this move, he takes on e5. What's up, Spari? What's going on, bro? Pawn takes, queen to e2, hitting e5. I knew this was all going to be a thing. And I was like, well, what if I go knight d7? I was like, well, I get to defend this pawn. But then he has queen f3, hitting c6, and he's hitting this. And I'm just not a big fan of this, especially if I castle, queen takes. I mean, yeah, I'm doing all right, but knight d5's coming in. He's also hitting this as a tempo. Maybe knight b6. I don't know. Like, this just was weird. It was too weird for me to play. It was just too weird. Plus, I still have double e-pawns, which these aren't the best. So I was like, yeah, I'm not into that. But going back, if I play this out of the opening, which I've never seen until I started actually like studying like this right here, they play queen c7. So all the same moves, bishop c4, bishop takes c5. Actually, not the same moves because this is hanging now. That's different. Really. Because this is hanging. So usually the castle wouldn't work that way. Huh. So I look at that again. That's different. But queen a5 is what I chose here. And I knew when I was in this position. Where am I at? Right here? Bishop c4. Let's go here. Here. Knight f6. d6 takes. Pawn takes. He played queen e2. Okay. c7 is way better. Yeah, it is. This position looks familiar. Why is that? Why is this, Barry? Rook b8. That's what I play here. At first, and this is what happened. This is what happens when you move a little bit too fast, but also you was correct. You ever been in like, oh, I moved a little bit too fast because I forgot he could do this, but it's still the correct move because it's just the correct move. It just was like, wow, man, intuition. My brain was not working, but the intuition definitely was because I played this rather quickly because I was like, oh yeah, just hit the b file, take this pawn if he takes mine, but that's not the case, and he took this real fast. I took back, I didn't take, and then rook takes b2 and bishop b3. Hey, hello, how your rook getting out? How is your rook getting out? Hello. How is your rook getting out? Oh, it's not. It's not. So that means you losing it? Oh, you might as well resign. It's over. My rook is not getting out. Knight a4, he's going to snap this rook. So at this point, and this is the position on the board, I'm like, oh, snap. Oh, snap. And I'm like, well, am I down a pawn? I'm like, okay, well, I'm not down a pawn. So I'm good. As long as I'm not down. But then at this point, I was like, ooh, but these pawns looking ugly. So I was like, man, I done messed this up. That's immediately what I was thinking. I was like, man, I have somehow got a worse position. It's not losing, but it is worse. It is worse. And I was feeling like that here. I was feeling like that here. So here, let me show you the moves now. Let me show you how stuff got crazy. I played e6 because it's kind of forced in a way. Play e6, you know, castle, get out the way. Try to defend this pawn. He played rook a5. Nice move. How do I defend this? If I go rook b7, bishop a6, rook moves. He takes the bishop first. Rook takes. Then he takes on a7. And he got an easy endgame. I mean, I just pushed this boy through in queen. Or like, take this one too. What you doing with your king? You down a pawn. And it's move 17. And you already down a pawn. Like, you can just resign. You trash. So, rook a5 was nice. But I found a nice little move. I played a6. Just push it. Because if you take this, I can play rook a8. And then I'm hitting you. I also can defend this. I also found like, well, maybe, what if I get my king over here to help out too? So I had a nice little plan here. Nice little plan. So he plays b3. b3, I guess he just got tired of this being a threat. He played b3. So immediately I was like, I got a decision to make. Do I castle and bring my king further away? Do I play king e7? But I'm like, what am I playing king e7 for? Just to play rook d8? I really want my king kind of closer to everything else. Could you have played rook d4 back after he took the pawn on the e file? Well, if he did, wait, rook b4, rook d4 back after he took the pawn on the e file. Well, my rook could never get to d4. B4. You meant rook b4? So back here, rook takes, rook b4. Oh, it would have been the same thing as b3. It would have been the same thing. It's almost like a wasted move at that point. b3, same thing. Everything's protected. Why didn't he take your pawn with the bishop? Bishop takes a3. That's actually a6, but I'll show you why. Rook here, e6, rook a5, a6. If he takes it, rook a8. Ouch, that hurts. Counterplay is a thing. It's real. It happens. The Jedi are here. Rook a8 is tough. That's a piece now. I get a piece out of that. I get a piece. Knight b5 looks interesting. Oh, I can just... No, knight b5, king d8, or king e7. Because there's a check. So king e7. Crazy. Crazy stuff. This would be cool. Like knight b5, pawn takes, bishop takes with check. Now he's hitting me. That'd be nasty. But I have king e7. King e7 steps out the way. All the threats are the same. If knight c7, he is defending. But now I'm attacking once again. And everything is pent up. It's too much. Too many things. It looked cool though. It looked cool. It looked real cool. But that wouldn't work. Bishop takes a6 wouldn't be a thing. So he played b3. I play king d8 immediately. I'm just charging my king over here. Engine didn't like this too much, but I'm not the engine. So I'm playing what looks really good. I'm off the bed, buddy. All right, 25K. See you later, bro. Rook d1, king c7. Now my king is close enough to defend. Couldn't he play pawn b4? Well, I could just play rook takes b4. Rook takes b4. Knight d4 could still be a thing. Knight d4? Put my bullet working here. He played a3, stopping anything. I think he's going for b4, honestly. And I always had to be careful with king b6 immediately because knight a4 check and bring this knight into c5. So he had this kind of stuff going too for him. But I always know, I'm like, well, I have knight d5. I almost thought of this, and this is why pawn structures are good to know. If you got good pawn structures, like this reminds me of a Scandinavian pawn structure or a Carol Khan pawn structure. So knowing that, based off the pawn structure, I knew what kind of game to go for. And I also knew that if I start trading pieces in this kind of pawn structure, it usually favors the black pieces. So I knew this immediately. So now I knew the pawn structure, I kind of knew the plan. So I put my king over here where it's nice and safe. I can put the rooks on the open files and stuff and start trading. Put the knight on d5 like they do in the Scandi and have a great game. That's exactly what happened. So after that, bishop b7. I played bishop b7 just to get this off the back rank. I want to be able to take this file. And this is the thing. I was like, good night, Kenty. See you later. Peace out, Quentin takes it. Thanks, bro. Thanks for hanging out. I knew that if this rook is over here trying to do his own thing, you can do your own thing, but I'm going to get this file. You can chill over here as long as you want to, bro. I'm going to chill over here on this file and try to pick off the pawns and stuff. Thought if it'd be enough, but not be easy. Yeah. Yeah, that's why he didn't go for it. So he played rook e5. That's exactly what happened. Rook e5, rook e1. Or rook e5, rook e1 kind of stuff. But I played knight d5 first. Knight d5 because it's time. I wanted to also connect, make sure this rook stays over here. So if he takes it, which he does, he takes with the bishop. I took this way. Now this rook is like out the game. Look at, even though this is a bad bishop, but it's an active bad bishop. It's like has a purpose. And now I got this file. Now look at this position as black. Now look at this. It looks crazy. It looks crazy. And this is why I was like, well, shoot, I might win this. Because I offered a draw early on. Early, like, moves back. And he was like, let's keep playing. Now it's like, uh-oh, I might actually win this game if he's not careful. He's basically a rook down. Yeah, and it took him a while to get the rook in the game. I'll actually show you what happened. Sin Q and Deepak, thanks for the follows. Okay, so rook c5 was played. Rook c5. I moved my b rook to e8. Yo, this analysis is awesome. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it, man. I got another round, one more round to do. This is not going to be on this stream, but one more round to do. And then we're going to do other things for analysis. His rook gets back to c5. Right, so he played rook c5, played rook b to e8. Just put an easy mate threat on the board. You know, nothing simple. You know, he played g4. G4. Okay, so after g4, I went king d6, hitting the rook. I need to remember that. Active or bad. Yeah, it's bad, but it's active. I mean, Reassess Your Chess tells you about that. Reassess Your Chess 4th edition. I'm 2200 and learning from this. Oh, that's what's up, bro. That's what's up. Yeah, but Reassess Your Chess 4th edition talks about a bad but active bishop, stuff like that. I recommend it. It's a good read. Even though I'm like, I got it at 2200 and still learned a lot from it. I was like, oh, it's good. It's good stuff. I read a lot of chess books. b4, bishop c8. This is the move I made here. Now at this point, I'm like, he might be in trouble. I might have him here. Why? Because bishop c8 is very strong. If he does stuff like g5, I have bishop h3. And now he might be in some trouble with the back rank. Mates and stuff, checks, all kinds of stuff is happening here. h6 could also be a thing. I can break this up. I got to open rook file, 2 rooks versus 1 now. Yeah, this got bad quickly. And so he played king g2. Get the king off the back rank. Now, after king g2, take a moment here. What do you think I play here? What do you think I play here? Sparry, Gary, the strong players, don't cry wolf, 2000 plus. This is an advanced move. What move did I make here? Omid. Omid is 2000 plus. Omid is a national master. What would you play here, Omid? h5. I thought of h5, of course. Rook e1. I thought of that. h5. Black made an advanced move. Yes, Barry. Gary says g5. The Regulus Cow says h5. Rook e5 hangs the rook. No. I don't know how. Rook e5. I don't know. There's so many moves that get my attention. He says, how does it rook e5 doesn't hang the rook? Rook e6. Oh, okay. Rook e6 doesn't hang a rook either, though. Rook e5. Rook e5 from 25K. Here it is, guys. Here it is. Only one person said it. Only one person said it. Oh, Omid. Omid says, give me a sec. Okay. All right, Omid. What you gonna play here? Only one person has said the move. Rook e7, f5. h5. Well, I was thinking the same. Give me a sec. All right, we waiting for Sparry and Omid to give the answers. I mean, f5 and h5 look good too. Rook e1 from Sparry. Rook e1 from Tech Gambino. a5. King e5 from Vince Silden in the building. h5 from Omid. All right, guys, here we go. I played g5. Gary got it right. And here's the reason. Everything h5 was g5 himself. And I was like, well, this rook ain't getting out no more. And it's going to take a few moves. And he can always defend with h4. So I was really annoyed with that. I was really annoyed with this. It's interesting from last game. It's better to block the pieces rather than take them. Never thought about it much yet. I played g5 so he couldn't play g5. Because every line, if I play h5, if I play f5, if I play anything 5, he's going to play g5 and then be able to block everything up. And my advantage that I thought I had, he may even have an advantage because these pieces, you know, maybe he can get c4 in or something. So I played g5 myself. So now when I play h5, after that, pawn takes, the rook file is open. I got an open rook file. The bishop can come in. I can even double up. So for instance, if knight d1, this is what I thought. And I think this is what he played. This was actually the game move. And I like what he did here because Knight d1 is the game move. I played h5. So I was thinking he didn't take this, but if he would have taken this, pawn takes, rook takes, and then he goes knight e3, well then I'm looking to win here almost. I'm looking literally to win here. So now I got this kind of thing. G5 knights. Yeah, that's why I played g5. That's why you're in. Hey, is g5 objectively better than any candidate move? I think it is, Spari, and the computer liked it as well. h5 was just, everything was annoying about it. G5. This move was so annoying. h5, g5, and now he gets, and if I go threaten him, he defends it, and now I'm like stuck here. And yeah, I can double, but what am I doubling for? What's my next move? You always need to know that too. Follow up. What's the next move? Yeah, I got this in, but what do you do now? You just chill? Oh, that's not good. Like, you need to rethink that. So that wasn't good. So I played g5 instead. So now I have stuff. I guess bishop f5 and play positionally. Gary, how does that sound for somebody like me? Yeah, play g5, go positionally. Yeah, you know I don't play like that. And if I had to, I had to, especially if I'm losing. But if I feel like I have a chance of winning, I'm going to take it. And g5, that's what I went for. g5 instead. So he plays knight d1, and he thought a long time, and he let out one of those, and I was like, yes, I got him. As soon as you hear that breath, I was like, let's go, let's go, let's go, big fella. Psychologically got him. But knight d1 was the only move. The engine recommended it as well. I like positional. Yeah, see, that's not me. f5, g5, h6 was my idea. I was mostly calculating how to trade a pair of rooks would do a black, hence rook e1, right? Just got to ask dude's reaction at e5. Was just going to ask his reaction. Yeah, and then he played knight d1 because he needed to. And he was, his face looked more comfortable after because he thought it out. And then I was like, oh man, this guy's good. After I played h5, I'm thinking I got him. I'm thinking this is out. This is 4 in a row. Somebody get me a robe, a boxing robe or something right now. Like, I'm swinging 4 in a row against heavy hitters. This is good in the open section, playing really good chess. So after h5, it seems like positional play tends the ugly of the position, but it looks so sick to learn from the nature of new positions, right? So after this, knight e3. So he plays knight e3. h3, knight e3, that could be a thing too. That could be a thing. I think I was trying to get f5 in too. But he played knight to e3. After knight e3, we send a stretcher at this point. Correct. Metal Eagle. What's wrong with a Metal Eagle? Don't make me turn up right now. You're right. Send the stretcher to the man. That's what I felt like. So I took here and I'm like, let's go. Send the stretcher. That's not a move. Get the man out of here. What do you think he played here that had me think for like, bro, it felt like 40 minutes. He made one move here and I was like, what in the world is this? I didn't consider this. I didn't consider this. I looked at literally probably every other move but this one. You can't play bishop takes g4 because the rook's defending it. Rook's defending it. Knight c4, fly eagles, fly says c4, knight c4, I guess. Knight c4, I wasn't afraid of knight c4. King g3. King g3 I wasn't afraid of. It looks tactical. Knight c4. Yeah, knight c4 I wasn't afraid of. Rook takes d5. c4 is explosive, says chess comment. That's correct. He played c4, and I sat here and was like, oh my goodness. This man just hit me with a move. And at this point, I'm like, wow. I sat here and looked at everything. Everything. And I was like, I don't see nothing better than this one sequence. Because it was strong. This was a very strong move. I thought this was really good. I thought this was really, really good here. So now, what do you do here? This is, you got to be on it. I mean, I looked at everything. I was looking at rook d5 as a possibility. How about f5, f4? But if I play, and this is everything that was going through my head. If I play f5, he's going to take here, right? But if he takes here, I have f4 hitting the knight, but then he can take here. That's check. That's the in-between. Then I got to step out of the way, and then he can come in with a knight on d5, and that's over. I'm looking crazy at that point. That's just not going to work. Can't do that. So same thing happened to me before x4. I held a draw, right? Bishop e6. I thought about bishop e6, but I'm like, not enough. After bishop e6, he can actually snap and snap. So meaning like bishop e6, pawn takes, knight takes d5. And there's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of stuff. There's actually mate lines in here too, where I was getting mated if I ain't careful. I was like, it's too much. Bishop e6 is not enough. And then what else? Nothing else really works. Rook takes e3 coming, king e5 sharpshooter with a question mark and a laugh there. Yes, guys, I play king e5. two, and at one point I'm from Michigan, and during this round it was 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 4 or 5. It was actually 5 players, top 10 in Michigan. They were all in the same area. We was like all 5 boards apart, something like that. It was myself, Edward Song, Ben Lee. It was actually 6. Ben Lee, and then Seth Homa, Rohan, and then Josh Postuma. 6 of us, all in the same area. So Michigan was turned up over there. Seth Homa he was sitting next to me during this game. He won that game, but he got an IM norm. Same score as me, but because based off the criteria of players he played, he got a norm. So letting you know the Jedi's ready. I got 5.5. He got 5.5. So it was nice to know that. But Seth had a hell of a tournament. Yeah, he did, bro. He went off. But you know, Rohan, a few like chairs down from me, after the game, he was like, "Yo, how'd you draw that with your king in the center?" And I was thinking the same thing. Like, this game was wild. My king's sitting here on E5, and for me to tell you that I'm almost winning it sounds crazy. Sounds crazy. I thought it was Josh X Human. Canty started weed, but then I stepped up and managed him. How many norms do you have, Canty? I have none, bro. I have none. This was the closest I got, and now because I'm this close, now I can get closer and closer, and I'm gonna just get it. You know what looks nasty? What, pawn F5? Yeah, F5 is gonna be nasty in some cases. Sorry if I'm distracting from analysis. Wondering, what do you usually wear when you compete in chess? Really anything, honestly. I mean, I like to wear polo and slacks or t-shirt and pants, stuff like that. You know, it just depends. If it's a big money tournament, for instance, Millionaire Chess, it was actually a dress code. They actually wanted you to dress up because it's Millionaire Chess. There's a lot of money on the line. So I actually did some pictures I have. You can see I was in a suit or a blazer on. Basically, a lot of times you want to. It's a professional sport. You want to look good. A lot of times. Nice, you'll get it, man. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. Thanks. So King E5. He wore Hobbit, right? Speedo and Psych. Weird about Speedo. Oh, y'all crazy. So King E5. I play King E5. The King's on E5 right now. He played Rook D2, and now what was my intention here? You always have to have a 2 move. When I think, it's always in pairs. Like, I don't move here and just wait for him to move. You always look. I'm gonna go here. He goes here, and like I look at combinations, 2 to 4 moves deep usually, most times. So I had an intention, King E5, with the intention to do what next. Now what do you do here? What do you do now? Great stream, James. Thank you so much, man. I don't wear anything so I can assert my dominance. Nice job. Sack the king. That sounds right. Do you also wear shades when playing? No, I don't. I don't wear the shades when I'm playing, but I do wear them when I'm walking around, you know, like, or just coming in, you know, like, hey, what's up, guys? I'm here. We in here. Let's go. It's pretty nice. Come on, win in pairs. Yes, you do, Omid. 41 in Puzzle Rush. Yeah, that's what's up, Terminal. I just broke 43 on stream, by the way. So, Rook D8. We have Rook H6, Rook D8, D4, King E4, Rook H6, F5s, King F4s. Resign. I played Rook to D8. Rook D8, I was ready to trade at this point. And at the end of the day, I can always get Bishop B7 in, too. So I thought he was going to take, and we was going to go into this long trade of stuff, with Bishop B7 still being a threat of mine. And I can always play King F4 and F5. So I had a lot of potential here. And I knew that. So I was like, okay, we're going to go for this line. And we're going to do it my way. Because I can, at the end of everything, I still can have Bishop B7 at the end. So he didn't go that route. He played Rook takes C6. And I honestly didn't calculate this one long enough. Because I didn't think this one was the one he was going to do. The critical line was Pawn takes D5. But he took Rook takes C6. So I was like, whoa, I might be winning. I mean, can I get this off somehow, some way? And then, what move did I make here? This is the move right here, big fella. What is it? I know at least one GM who's kicked out of the tournament for wearing shorts. Oh, wow. Yeah. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. E5 meaning D4. Everyone says D4. Everybody on the board says D4. You are correct. D4 is the move. I played D4 and sat here, and then again you heard the or the sigh, or like the real deep think, like they just adjust and then real deep think. Adjust real quick, crack the knuckles, deep think. And I was like, let's go. I might have him. Because past pawns must be pushed. Okay, Bishop B7. And if I'm able to push D3, the king gets in too. And it's a party. It's a party, big fella. We in here. For real. So I was feeling good. I was like, this might be game 4. Let's go. I know I should have accepted the draw. At this point, I was like, hey, man, you should have took that draw. That's what I was thinking. I was like, hey, bro, you probably should have took that draw. But we'll see. How did this guy get a draw? I'll show you. So he played rook c5 check. Rook c5. Okay, I play king e4. He plays knight to e2. And my king looking crazy right now. I mean, crazy. Only move to get another square for my king just in case I'm getting mated in some cases, right? Is d3. He checked me here. And actually, there was a mate somewhere that I wanted to show you guys if I wasn't careful. I was like, man, he about to mate me. I can't remember. Is it here? d4. Check. I wanted to remember. It was a king f4. I went king e4. He went here. d3. And there was a mate. Somehow I was getting mated with the double rooks. In some cases, but I couldn't figure it out. You're playing the National Open. I will be. Hey, that's what's up, Terminal. I'm not, though. I'm playing in one in the month. End of the month here. June, well, not towards the end. June 21st to the 23rd. And then I'm going to World Open. Why not bishop b7 instead of d6? You mean back here? Oh, instead of d3. Bishop b7 right now. Bishop b7 could be a thing, but this king step is not. It's not that important. It's really not that important. If king f4 was that a mate? Oh yeah, I'm getting mated in some cases. Like if I step out the way. I mean, no. This is not mate though, because I'm covering this. I forgot I had this bishop's covering it. Bishop's covering it, but maybe the mate was bishop b7, knight g3, king f4. Yeah, that could be a mate. Strong chess. That might be right. But it was some mate where I remember his rook was here or here, and I was like, whoa, like I'm getting mated because he could swing to f6 and mate me because the rook was here too. I just can't remember what that sequence was, but we not there, so that's good. I played d3, so at least I know I can run this way. And I thought I was good. I really thought I was good here. Knight g3 check. I played king d4, and I'm like, let's go, big fella. This is over. I should win this. And then what move did he make? Here, guys. Americans have such names for tournaments. Millionaire Fair, World Open makes the tournament sound so much more awesome than they actually are. 92 from Terminal. Rook d5. Well, rook d5. I hoped you would have played rook d5. 92 check, b5. We have rook d5 check. Over RIP. Yep. 92. He played 92, and then Gary says RIP is a draw. Rook d5. And you know what's funny? He sat here for like a long time. At like from here, 92, we go here. Knight check again. I go, and I thought a long time because I was like, can I get away with king f4? I was literally sitting here, and then I thought about the Josh Postuma game. That game, this was like Motor City Open November 2018. One of my first tournaments coming back, just going ham like it's time this year, right? And I'm like a pawn up against Josh Postuma. FIDE Master, very strong monster, right? Pawn up in a drawn in game. And I lost it because I was pushing too hard. So I was like, you know what? Motor City Open, yeah. So if I'm like, you know what? If king f4, I ain't trying to jump off the deep end here. I'm already on a hot streak. I won 3 in a row. And this is going to be a draw. And I'm like, king f4, you know what? I'm about to go back king d4. It is what it is. It's a draw. So I play here. And then he thought a long time. 92, we went here. He played knight g3 check, and it was a draw. But after, right here, he sat here and thought. And I was like, are you going to move? Where else you going to move? That's what I was thinking. No, actually not 92. It was right here on knight g3. And I was like, what are you thinking about? I'm going to play king c3, and I'm going to queen this pawn. Either you check me or you don't. It's one or the other. King c3, GG. And he was thinking a long time. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, it's a draw. So it would have been... So would it have been better to not push d3? No, it was better. It was good because my king was in a box in a way. And d3 opened me up to be able to get around here to make the draw. Or at least winning chances at this point. Crazy game. My king went from d8. I mean, literally my king. Look at the king moves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, like 6 king moves, bro. What? Crazy. Another crazy draw like the Evan Park game. That's right. What's the computer evaluation here? I actually turn it on and we'll look at it. And it says, if anything else, number 1 line is 92 check is zeros. 92 check, the same sequence. We go back and forth, right? Number 2 line is if he goes rook c7 is -3 after rook h to e8 first. So it's -3 after that. And then the next line is -4 if he plays king g1. So the best thing for white to do here is to go for the draw. The best thing for white to do here. Thanks for the follow, Slaterback, and Not Your Average Chess Player. Thanks for the follows. It's been great hanging out. Thanks for the great content. Appreciate you, man. What does the engine say before the repetitions? So before the repetitions, let's go back. Go back here. So this critical moment right here, right now, and actually, let's go back here. I'm curious to see when I'm here. Thanks for the follow, Turpy Vest. Appreciate it. Did you guys play the best moves after Rook D8? Looking at it right now, the best move by the engine actually says zeros is Rook D8 right now. And there's actually a series of the same thing. Rook D8, C takes, and then King E5. That's what it says to do. Yo, I'm out too, falling asleep. All right, bro. Peace out. Peace out. So it's saying do the same thing, just different move order. And that's it. So King E5 was played. It says Rook D2, the best move in this position by the engine. Number one move is Bishop B7. Now it switches after thinking. It says Rook to D8. Rook to D8. So I played the right move here. Think box with the tier 1, bro. Thanks so much for the love. I played against an IM and we both missed mate in 1. Many moves in a row. Wow. That's tough. Yeah, that's tough. So right here is still about equal. Great games, big fella. Thanks, Nice Blade. Appreciate that. It's about equal. So I'll play Rook D8. He goes Rook takes C6. And right here, it gives equal. It went to minus. Now it's like minus 0.5. And then it says equal after D4, Rook C5, King E4, Knight F1. D3. Yeah, it gives the same line. Literally the same line we went through is the draw line. That's crazy. We made literally the engine moves from this point out. And actually from King E5, it was all engine moves and everything was correct. Everything's equal. I do not see you losing this pushing a bit. Yeah, it's not. D4. It says everything's equal from D4. D4. This was the correct way to play. Rook C5, King here. If white consolidate, black could be terrible. Correct, but this passed pawn saved everything. Knight G3, I got out the way. Knight E2, and it was a draw. It was a draw. Why not Rook trade, says Guillotine King. Well, let's look at that. Let's actually see how that looks. Good game. Thanks, bro. So this right here, this was a critical test. I actually thought he was going to do this. And then Rook takes. It says all zeros, by the way. Everything's all zeros. Rook takes D5. It says King F4. That's exactly what I was going to do, to sit here and also threaten Bishop B7 check. At this point, it's all zeros. It's all zeros right now. Good game. Thanks, man. And I knew that this was going to happen because I'm like, if I'm able to check him and like walk this rook around somewhere, he going to be in trouble because his king going to be on the back rank. I can also play Bishop F3 and cut him off. There's a lot I could do. So, you know, it was still a draw at this point. It's still all zeros at this point, guys. So I got a draw in this game. I'm like, let's go. Zeros mean neutral, right? No one benefits. Correct. Zeros is just benefits is equal. What's the problem with Knight D5 instead of Rook C5 check? Let's go back. Okay, so Rook D8. You mean right now? Right now? Rook takes. Oh, Knight D5 right now. Okay. Knight D5, that gotta be losing. They gotta be losing. It's actually -1 after Bishop F5. It gives Bishop F5, Rook C5, Bishop E4 check, and then just take on D5. It's probably not losing though, but it looks draws. Negative is better for black, that's right. Yeah, that's what it gave. That's what it gave. Crazy stuff. I think this was and we ended up getting a draw though. We ended up getting a draw. So ending position is a few moves up here. And this is it, guys. Great games, awesome analysis. I learned a lot from those, but I'm out now. Good night, y'all. All right, Wookie, see you later, bro. Thanks for hanging out, man. Appreciate you. And here's the draw. And there it is, guys. We have a draw. And this is round 7. At this point, I now have 4 points. I have 4 points out of 7. 4 points out of 7 in the open section. Starting out half out of 3. And now ending up with 4 points out of 7. So your boy went off that is the end of today's analysis. That's round 7. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that. We're going to upload that to YouTube and all that good stuff.